We're going to go over to Angustias,
Which is straight ahead.
yeah, which is the biggest of all of the purely mining haciendas.
Biggest in Pozos?
Biggest in Pozos.
Okay.
Buildings were all storage areas and some living quarters for the skeleton crew that stayed on
To protect the ore
to
or?
protect the mine because these things got raided
Okay.
constantly. This is the main house. It's the biggest of all of the main houses out here where the mine owner lived.
Wow.
It still has some of the color on the walls, which you can see all of the
That
architectural detail.
typical periwinkle wash is on all the buildings in Pozos on the inside. But take a look at this. This is very much what Posada has fashioned their architecture after. Gorgeous.
Yeah,
But do you think that brick is, that's not old. That looks like somebody went in to restore it a bit, doesn't it?
I don't know. Well, this mine was the last of the mines to close, I understand. And
In the
went into
20s?
actually went into
1920s?
the 30s.
Okay, so maybe it could be original. Oh my goodness, massive. What a gorgeous entryway.
This is the main mine, but the wheelhouse is gone.
It used to be there. Those were the
We
ruins
think
of
it
the
used to be
wheelhouse.
there.
Well, it could have been right here, no? Because you've got,
it
no?
doesn't have the doorway.
Okay. Periwinkle wash, typical. And then they'd have the line and come down below with a different color, often kind of a pale terracotta. And this, they had kind of a Gothic arch that they used to do, but this has been eroded. Very pretty. Up here you can see the border. That's over 100 years old. It's still there. This is,
You're looking at Triangula. Triangula is one of the two beneficiating as well as mining haciendas in that they did their own ore crushing and smelting. And we'll see the crushing tanks, you'll see the water complex down below, you'll see the smelting complex up above.
interesting. Well, this is a tree on a cloudy morning. I wish it was sunny, but oh well. Electric plant.
That's the old electric company from the 1890s. That's what allowed these electrification, and that's why this crushing pit doesn't have horse tracks, it has gear marks. Because it drove a gear mechanism.
Okay, and that's what that big hole is. This is a big gear shaft, and then
Yeah.
it would crush everything down, and then they'd separate it.
Yeah, and then they take it up to the smelters, which we'll see. And you'll notice these are outside the wall because at this time, the mineral extraction was a cyanide process. And you didn't necessarily want cyanide inside where you were living. So they put the crushing areas outside the wall. Mercury extraction process for the silver, which was the primary metal over there.
Okay.
And actually the important thing about Santa Brigida was the first discovery of mercury in Mexico, because King Carlos, the King of Spain, controlled the amount of mercury. He traded mercury for the silver. Now all of a sudden they had their own source of mercury. However, this area was primarily started in the 1840s,
Okay.
and how they brought the ore in and out to the crushing pits.
Okay.
What Raul told me, this building here, this thing to the left, is where the chief accountant was, who did all of the payments. And there's a small room, you can see the door, no windows in the back. It's probably about 6 or 8 feet long. That was the safe,
The vault.
and supposedly the banditos blew the door off, and that's how it stayed.
Oh no. Look at the sun up on that ridge. So wild. So what would this be then?
Well, this is probably storerooms down here.
For the ore? Or?
No, for for all of the equipment that they
Okay.
had to use, the carts, the picks, the shovels. This lower area down here is there's a lot of channels and catch tanks for the water, because you needed a serious amount of water for the,
Still do
the
to this
crushing
day.
pits.
They use a lot of water.
and you can see some of the channels going off there down into
Okay.
down into the tanks, and there was an entrance heading over to move the water.
What are those big square trough things?
They're
Like
water catch.
cisterns? Okay.
Now we're moving up into the final crushing area. These were crushing platforms where they had equipment to break down the ore further. And then up,
But by this time, the cyanide's not present. They're just crushing it
well,
manually?
they're finishing whatever they do. But no, there wasn't any cyanide in here. Then up there is where the main smelting tower is. You can see it lying on its side. Somebody knocked it over. It's supposed to be vertical on that platform that's behind it.
So that's actually the actual smelting tower.
Yeah, it's the main smelting tower. Yeah.
Okay, let's go up there. So this,
That stood vertically on top of the center.
uh-huh.
And they used to be able to feed stuff in to keep it going. And that was the main smelting tower.
So they pour things in through the top of that tower?
No, there's a door right there.
Oh, through the door, and then it would just come out
Heat.
where? Yeah, heat.
It would probably settle to the bottom. I don't know whether it came out these channels or whether they had to go get it.
Mostly silver. Or would you?
Primarily silver. There was lead, copper, zinc, some gold. Not necessarily here. There's a little gold mine over there.
Interesting.
They actually did 7 metals, I think, altogether. This main building that I thought was a church, in fact, was the repair shop. Had a huge amount of equipment between the smelting and the crushing and the digging, and so they had their own repair shop. It's huge.
Pretty building. That's interesting. It has a pink cast to it. What is that about?
The caliche, as it ages, a lot of it will get that pink. A lot of
Turn
the stuff
pink.
Not all of it, but a lot of the stuff we have gets a pink.
It turns pink? Okay. Oh, how beautiful. And look at their cement and brick headers.
Yeah. The reason you don't see any ruins of roof or wood or anything,
They took it all.
well, when the miners walked off,
Uh-huh.
the mine owners got raided and left with all the equipment. After the war, the miners sued the mine owners for back wages and won. And they were given the right to take anything they could, and so they took the roofs and most of the wood and stanchions.
What were the roofs made of? Do you know?
Tile.
They were, okay, so that's a very old and ongoing tradition. Now I watch this from the road. I've never walked up here. Are these the eucalyptus trees?
They are big eucalyptus.
Oh, they're enormous into the shot as we're walking away. So grand.